Well, young Henry, we're live and we're
Yeah.
here again, which is kind of surprising. People didn't think we would be, but we're here for some more clarity. What bothers us, what aggravates us, what we notice, what we see in the world of media today. And what are we going to discuss today that may trigger a few people?
Well, hopefully not, because we're going to try and come at it from a very big perspective, broad perspective. But we're going to be chatting about Kanye West because he is a very strong personality that is creating a lot of news right now. And we've seen audience reactions, we've seen populations, we've seen partners and companies all voicing very strong opinions. And there's a lot going on around Kanye West. And so as a personal brand, it's a interesting person to look to as an example and be able to kind of get an understanding for the power of personal branding and how you show up and present yourself.
There's actually quite a few lessons going on at the moment. We've had lessons with obviously people through the Me Too campaign that got slaughtered with that adjusted their brand. We saw the situation with Will Smith and how that's affected his brand. And now we've got this with, and I'm aware I'm more hip and trendy than you, but Ye. It's not Kanye, it's Ye. You know, we got to get his name right. He's changed his name. I think he's probably on par with changing his names as much times as P, Diff, Puff, Diddy, Daddy, whatever his latest name is. But so we're talking about Ye, formerly known as Kanye West, and what's happened. Now, I am not going to try and untangle the shit show that was him tweeting at like 3 o'clock in the morning. But we did notice he did a few things smart. And it really comes down to one single word: ownership. Yeah. Now, there's a lot of people out there that are really raging, really doing well on borrowed time, borrowed platforms. In fact, a good friend of ours, we can both give him a shout out, Qasim, okay? Qasim is probably one of the nicest people in the planet. The fact that he's just got banned from Facebook and not me just basically sums up the planet. You know, I almost seem to try to get cancelled, but he got shut off. Now, the bottom line of it is these social platforms all cost us diddly squat to purchase. There's no payment. You are the product of that platform, okay? So in which case, when they make a mistake, and it happens quite often, and they turn you off for whatever reason, and Qasim, I think Qasim's offended anyone in his freaking life, but they've made a mistake because you're not paying. They don't owe you. And so trying to find someone that can get this done is an uphill battle. Now, he's trying at the moment. He's been off for, a couple of weeks? And it was a mistake. And do you think he's going to get a bag of roses and an apology letter? Absolutely not. So the bottom line of it is that if you're on someone else's platform, even if you're doing everything right, you will always stand the chance to be susceptible from them actually making a mistake. And in the point of Qasim, they made a mistake. So the first thing is you never, ever want to be, raging and your main focus on somebody else's platform. You've got to own your own platform. And what do we call that?
Your chalk.
Your chalk. Oh, yeah, we love that. CHOC, Central Hub of Communication or Central Hub of Conversation. But bottom line of it is your central hub. Your central hub. Now, Ye, as he will always be known now until he changes it, he actually had his own website, and he owns his own website, and he owns his own logos, and he owns his own brand. So even though he's actually been kicked off of many platforms and he's been kicked off of many contracts, he's still selling out all of his merchandise through his platforms. Now, I think the guy's a bit unstable, my opinion. Do I think the guy was smart enough to own his own media and conversation? Yes. Congratulations for him to have the foresight. We know a lot of people that are actually scurrying around now to do it. you got athletes, you got musicians. In fact, there's no artist that doesn't realize now that what they do is their talent, but their business is their brand. And you can see that no better time than today in Christmas and in the holiday season, where there's not a bloody artist out there that doesn't have subsequent brands in other things, whether it be shoes, apparel, makeup, cologne. I think Justin Bieber actually had a nail polish collection, which I thought was the weirdest thing. And I'm not making that up. I really believe that I saw a Bieber nail polish, which was ones that he preferred. Weird, but hey, they realized that they are brand now. It all kicked off with Michael Jordan and Nike, and there's not an artist or an athlete out there now that doesn't realize that one is their artistry, two is their brand distribution. And you've got to be able to own it, whereas a lot of them don't. If you look at someone like, for argument's sake, Michael Jordan, and I don't know the ins and outs of it now, but the whole brand that he had, the whole Air Jordan brand, was on Nike's platform. Now, you saw that Kanye selling his shoes was on Adidas platform and on his. Okay. Now, the shoes, I believe, were actually owned by Adidas. So that, I don't know what's going to go on with there. But the clothing line was owned by him. So his clothing line, he's still in ownership of it. Today, you've got to be cynical, skeptical, and almost vicious with your own brand and go, okay, where could this go wrong? You know, Twitter walks away from me. Facebook makes a mistake and turns me off. Instagram suddenly goes down. Where can I survive? Do you own your data? Do you own your hub of conversation? And ask yourself that. And if you do not, apart from being smart and calling us to get it sorted out yourself. You've really got to do that. You saw what happened to Kanye. Are there any other examples of that or anything to add to that?
Well, it does show the power of having an audience and building a community. He's known that the power of being very out there and making statements that can be polarizing, it gets rid of the fence sitters that we always talk about. And there's people that love him and hate him. So he's been able to build a strong community over the years. And that's where the value was in building the Yeezy brand with Adidas. People weren't going to those shoes because it was Adidas. They were going to it because it was a brand off of Kanye. And so the thing that he did really well was he brought the vibe and the community to a distributor. And so Adidas was able to pump things up at scale for him, but it was him that was being scaled. And so even then, he owned the audience, he owned the feeling and vibe, and then he owned the Yeezy brand as well. So even though Adidas has like the rights to the styles and stuff, and I think they're still going to be producing the shoes, they won't be able to brand it with the same branding. And so what actual effect does that have will be very interesting. There's been some estimates already and projections of potential losses for the end of the year. But we're looking at what he did well, which was building the community, standing out, finding an audience that resonates with him and his vibe, creating something that builds this community through just wearing shoes. And he wasn't trying to make them super expensive. They were trying to be affordable so that everyone could have this cool style and be included in this. So he did a great job of taking his face and personality and putting it out there to find an audience that he could then build on and monetize even further. And so even though there's been some moves that have broken certain partnerships, he has taken the effort to build a personal brand that is going to build a follower base that can go with him whichever direction he really chooses. And that's where he's shown the power of it. And he was well over $1 billion net worth with that partnership in place. And that's off of a personal brand.
And that's the key. It's his community.
Yeah.
And that's the key. His community. See, if you look through the Adidas website, and I've done this before, you look through the Adidas website and they've actually got shoes that look very similar to the Yeezys, but they're not Yeezys. But you won't buy them because they're not a Yeezy for anyone that's a follower of the Ye brand. So how many people are actually going to flock over to Adidas who were already selling shoes that look similar and buying them going, well, look, I don't like him. I'm going with this. So I'm wondering how much it's going to hurt Adidas as well. But then as you openly say, you love Kanye, you hate Kanye. There's no fence sitters, but you can't ignore Kanye. And that's also one of the things, he can say something, and he has, that's completely off whack, that just makes you scratch your head and go, what were you thinking? And then you just want to get into the conversation. You want to get into how it's going to come out, how this is going to play out. What was it behind it? You become intoxicated by it. It's like a deer in headlights. You know it's bad, but you can't help watching it. And it's a train wreck. But he owns his community. Where's that community going to go? And the bottom line of it is, yes, he's lost an amazing amount of money in a day by losing the contracts that he lost. But I want to see how it is in a year's time. Because he's still got the community. He's still got the conversation. He's still out there. The interviews that he's doing are some of the biggest watched interviews. You sent me another one yesterday. The interviews that he's doing, people go, well, I hate what he said. Wow, I'm going to watch him. Who cares? At the end of the day, as a brand, you want the attention. You talk about the strength of a community. How many people do you know running around thinking that K-Swiss is one of the coolest brands in the planet? And then what happened when Gary Vee came along and went, K-Swiss, stick it on. Sold loads of, all of a sudden, and I've still been to events where people are like, yeah, I got my Gary Vee K-Swiss. And it's because of Gary. Not because, I'm sorry, K-Swiss, but it's not because of them, it's because of Gary. Gary brought his community over. So community first, fence sitters bye-bye. So stand up. If you've got an opinion, voice it. Now, we got freedom of speech, but we still need to kind of like uphold stupidity. So if you're saying something stupid, you deserve to be banned and blocked and, stoned or whatever it is. But the bottom line of it is, have your community understand easily you and allow yourself, and I'm using our cliches here, allow yourself to be impossible to misunderstand. Love you, hate you, but don't allow them to ignore you, and focus number one on a community. Once you've got a community, he can go into anything. And, who knows what he's going to go into next? He could go into underwear, go to socks.
You've said in the past, I forget the book it was that you read, but how like no media is bad media.
Oh yeah, that was
make it all work for you.
I've got to give you a shout. I've got to give a shout out to Ryan. Ryan Holiday did this book. Ryan's a great lad. He's up there in Texas with his goats. And he wrote loads of great books. He's sharp as fuck, that guy. But that's probably the only book that I've read multiple times, because every time there's another media shit show, controversy, kind of like, cancel culture, gotcha, whatever, his book becomes more relevant. So Trust Me, I'm Lying is the name of Ryan Holiday's book. Ryan, love you, man. Look after yourself. But his book is phenomenal. And at the end of the book, he actually says, this is either a book on how you can avoid the media or how to manipulate it for your gain. And I love the end of that book. But yeah, it's a great book on how to do it. Very, very relevant. And the media is basically nothing more than a platform of distribution. It's the same as a bus, okay? You don't have to hate the bus if you're not going anywhere. And you've got 10 digits, you can turn it off. But everyone today wants to distribute their brand and their message. And so you need that bus, you need that vehicle, you need the media. So great book for you to understand how to use it.
Yeah, definitely. It's attention. So right now with what Ye's getting, he's getting a whole lot of attention. He can use it to turn things around. He can use it and manipulate it to do something else and pull his new audience in, because there's going to be lots of people who haven't followed Kanye much, but now because of how much attention he's getting, there's going to be people who are going to watch these videos and be like, I see some points. I actually kind of like some of his other things that he's doing, and they might get to see deeper than they did beforehand, regardless of what the actual statements that created all this hoo-ha was. They might actually dive deeper into him and discover areas they like, and that could even strengthen his audience. So right now, the media could be good attention for him, depending on how he uses it. So that's where the media can be great, even if it seems like it's bad.
That's on that point. Let's focus on the brand.
Mm-hmm.
Why is there the potential for Ye to do well out of this, but it fucked Will Smith?
So Will was out of character from how people usually see.
There you go. Yeah, exactly. He was off brand. Ye walking up onto a microphone and grabbing the microphone away from someone else getting an award, or saying something stupid, or going out or walking out there with like a t-shirt over your head so you can't see your face. All of those things, you go, hey, that's Ye. He's on brand. And that's what people don't understand. He's on brand. He's a controversial artist. He's on brand. He is I think they said he's the richest black guy ever. Okay. So everyone wants to crap on him. That was in the video you sent me, which is just ridiculous. But he's on brand. And that's where it's going to work in his favor. Because let's bring up someone like Andrew Tate.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, how many people knew of Andrew Tate before he got blocked? Yeah. Now Andrew Tate's very famous because he got blocked. You see, we are attracted to controversy. The easiest way for you to be successful in something is to go, oh, this was too risque for the mainstream media. Oh, they didn't want to show this. How many times are you attracted to an album cover when it says explicit written on it? Right, yeah. We're naturally attracted to things that are banned, or no one should ever see this, and it does really well. And again, you need to read that book that we mentioned, Trust Me, I'm Lying, because there's actually an entire chapter in there about how well American Apparel did by actually leaking out things that weren't going to happen. They got controversy surrounding it, and when you get controversy, you get attention. Yeah. And that's the focus. At the moment, Ye has your attention. I don't care if you agree with him. And I'll be blunt, and I'm going to go out on a limb. There's a few people that have said things that have really kind of caught me as great quotes. One of the most famous ones is everyone's got a plan until they get punched in the nose. Mike Tyson. Okay. Brilliant nugget. And one of the other ones that I've always loved was actually Kanye West, that he said, I'm not out of control. I'm just not under your control. And I always thought, wow, that's good.
Yeah.
Whose control is he under now?
Right.
Now, he's the one writing this. He's the one that's actually on the guidelines. You can look at him like an idiot. You can look at him like he doesn't know what he says. A lot of the stuff he says has solid truth in it. I think the way he communicates it, a little bit off. But then it's to get your attention. But the main focus that you just said is he's on brand. Love him, hate him. He hasn't changed. And I think that's what you got to do.
Yeah, absolutely. You have to stick right within your branding, know how you want to present yourself. Because when you change that and show up differently, that's what causes fluster. That's what makes it hard for your audience to stick around and be loyal with you. So like you said, it's not super far-fetched or surprising when you see Kanye come out with a bold statement or a bold outfit or something, because that's his character. But when you see Will Smith come up on stage and slap someone, that's out of character. That shocks you and makes you question whether or not you want to be a fan of his, because that was a break in character. So that's.
I wonder if Kanye. Well, I think we know the answer to this. If Kanye had done what Will did, regarding at the time Kim Kardashian, we'd have all gone, "Oh, did you see what Kanye did?" And that would have been it. That would have been the end of it. But because it was America's favorite dude, favorite action star, everyone loved the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Will Smith was the kind of guy you just wanted to walk up to and just go, "Well, you man, hey." You expected that. You wouldn't do that to Ye. You wouldn't go up and expect to hug and a selfie with him, because you know what his character is, or you believe what his character is, and you can see the brand that he's actually identified. So it's going to be interesting. So I think, we keep these short and sharp for your benefit. I think the keys that you've got to understand is control your conversation. Don't rely on being on somebody else's platform. That's number one. Mm-hmm. If all of your messaging is done on Facebook and it's not done via email, text, or website, then you're just waiting. That's the first thing. Engage the conversation. Get people curious about you. And today, we're in the attention currency. Everyone that is out there that you follow has your attention. And that's what we are in. We are in the attention currency. And brand. What is your reputation? What is your brand? Don't step out of it. Know your lane. Stick to it. Own it. And control the conversation from it. Henry, anything else to finish off with?
No, I think that is the biggest point, is if you're going to look at what Ye has been up to, take away from it that he has been strong to his character for a long time. And that's what's got him as far as he has, because he has made it very easy for an audience to decide whether or not they want to be behind him and be fans. So when you're going about your personal branding, you're showing up online, make sure that you are truly representing you and that you don't stray away from it because of other external factors. Be you, show up, and build your own audience.
Perfect. All right. So for me and Henry and the Sims.media team, we wish you a good, lively, and attention-grabbing week. We're going to be back with our next subject, as we always do. If you've got any questions you want to reach out to us, ask at sims.media. But for now, do what makes you stand out by first standing up. All the best, folks. Bye.